And we can also discuss any specific questions, any specific points you are unsure about the MA Tesol and any of the other programs as well. So you see my administrative roles in the department, that I am the MA Tesol program director, and I teach a lot on this particular program. And I'm also deputy head of department in language and linguistics. So here is the list I've mentioned before, the list of the MA programs that we run. And you see that the MA Tesol at the bottom is highlighted in red, and this is because it's going to be the focus of today's session. But I will go through the other programs as well, just to give you an idea of what we offer. So we have an MA in linguistics and an MA in English language and linguistics. And you probably understand that the main difference between these two programs is that MA English language and linguistics focuses heavily on English, on the linguistics of the English language, whereas MA linguistics has a broader focus. It can include research, information, linguistic examples of other languages as well, and not just English. We also run a program called MA Linguistic Studies, which is our most flexible program. And this is because the course structure is very open. You can choose any of the modules that we have. It is just the dissertation, the MA dissertation, that is compulsory for everybody. But the other modules that you can choose as part of the MA in Linguistic Studies are really your own choice. They are based on your own interests, what exactly you would like to find out more about. And you can also choose a variety of modules that come from different areas. For example, you can have some purely linguistics, purely theoretical linguistics modules. You can also choose some of our more applied teaching related modules as part of the MA in Linguistic Studies. It is the most flexible course. We also run an MA Psycholinguistics program. This is also a successful program. It includes a lot of experimental research and lab work, psycholinguistics experiments and tests that take place in specifically designed labs that we have on campus, and including the Essex baby lab that we have, in which we study how babies, the toddlers and children acquire their first language, their second language, a third language perhaps, or any foreign language too. And then we also run the MA in Applied Linguistics and the MA in Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. These two programs have several modules in common. So there are several modules that are shared across both programs. I'll show you the list of modules for the MA Tesol, and you will see, and I will also mention I'll mention again that all of these are also in the MA Applied Linguistics. The difference between the two courses is that in the MA Tesol, we have compulsory modules on teaching practice, on teaching skills. So these are compulsory for all the MA Tesol students, whereas for the MA Applied Linguistics, such teaching-focused, teaching-centered modules are not compulsory, they are optional. And there is slightly stronger focus on how people learn languages, not so much on how people teach languages or on how best we can teach languages, which is the case in the MA Tesol. These are the entry requirements for the MA Tesol program, but also for all the MA programs I have just showed to you. So these entry requirements apply to all of the programs I showed to you on the previous screen. We are asking our applicants to have a good first degree, which is equivalent to UK 2.2 in any discipline. So we are not too strict in terms of what your BA, your first degree, your BA course was on. Throughout the years, we have had MA Tesol students that had the first degree in Tesol, in English, in linguistics, in education, but we have also had students with a first degree, which was good, a good first degree in other areas, such as law, artificial intelligence, the learning and teaching of other languages, for example, a BA in Japanese, a BA in Chinese, BA French. We are interested in the first degree being a good degree. We are not too fussy about the focus of the first degree. In terms of the English language entry requirements, we are asking for a specific Ielts score. That's the Ielts overall score of 6.5. For each of the components, we are asking for a minimum score of 5.5, except for writing. For writing, we are asking for 6. This means that in listening, in speaking, and in reading, you can have at least 5.5, but in writing, we are asking for at least 6. Now, it can be the case that your Ielts score is lower than these particular scores, and that is not really a problem because we are offering Precessional English language classes that actually start at different dates throughout the academic year. The very long Precessional course starts in April, and you are attending this course up until September. The course prepares you to start your postgraduate degree in October. So you are on this course for about 5 to 6 months before you start your master's course. And then we have our intensive Precessional courses. The first intensive one starts in July, and you attend this course for 2 months, from July to September. And the super intensive course starts in August, and it lasts for approximately 5 weeks. And again, it prepares you for entry to your master's course in October of that same year. I also I wanted to devote a slide basically to the forms of assessment, because I think this is important for students to know. It helps them to think in advance how they can plan their time throughout the year, depending on the types of assessment they need to undertake. So the good news is that we don't have any exams for our MA courses, the ones that I showed to you earlier. And all of the modules on any of those courses are actually assessed through written coursework. This normally takes the form of essays, which are due in different periods throughout the academic year, but we do not have just essays. We can have other, different types of written coursework, for example, lesson plans. The MA Tesol students, for their teaching practice, which is a compulsory module, they are assessed on 2 to 3 lesson plans as part of the module. So we might have lesson plans, we might have reflective writing, which again, we use a lot on the MA Tesol as a form of assessment. In some of our modules, we have Moodle quizzes, which are basically online interactive tasks, interactive tests, which normally do not ask students to write too much, to write a paragraph or to write an essay, but rather students are asked to complete exercises. For example, multiple choice questions, true false exercises, matching tasks. And we have those short Moodle quizzes for some of the modules. They are not, I would say that they are not very common, but some of our modules do have some of those. There are also cases where our students are assessed on very practical tasks. For example, a task on data analysis as part of the research methods module, or there might be a practical task, an exercise on language analysis as part of our theoretical linguistics modules. So we try to offer a range, but what is important for you to know is that we do not have any exams during the main exam periods in January and May, June. On this screen and the next screen, I have included information about the course structure for the MA Tesol. In this screen, we will talk about the autumn term, which starts in October and ends in December before Christmas. And on the next screen, we will talk about the spring term, which basically starts in the new year, in January every year, and lasts up until approximately the end of March, which is when we actually, when the university closes for the Easter break. Now, we have 2 terms in which teaching takes place and in which you are expected to go to classes and attend lectures. I'll show you the structure of the remainder of the year later, what happens from April up until September, because you know that the MA course lasts for 1 year. I will talk about the autumn term first, the one that starts in October and ends in December. And in this term, you have to take 4 modules. 2 of these modules are compulsory and the other 2 are optional modules. I start with the compulsory modules, and you see here that you have 2 assessed modules, 2 assessed compulsory modules, basically. LG522, which is called Language Learning and Teaching. And what we do in this module is we review theories of language learning and methods of language teaching. The module is divided into 2 halves, 2 parts. The first 5 weeks focus on language learning, and then the second 5 weeks focus on language teaching. And there is another module that we run in the autumn term, which is assessed and is compulsory. And this is about teaching all 4 skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. In the autumn term, we also have 2 compulsory modules that are not assessed. This means that you need to participate in these modules. You need to go to class or complete the online version of the module, but you are not given a mark. These modules are intended to actually help you with your studies, with different aspects of your MA studies. The first one is LG512, Description of Language for Tesol, which is a purely online module. You have 1 class at the beginning of the term, let's say around mid-October. You have 1 class, you need to go to class, and in this class, the teacher tells you what this module is about. And the teacher also shows you the online version, how you can access it, how you can read the information and complete the task. And then you are expected complete all of the content in the online, for this online module by the end of the term, by approximately mid-December. And you can complete this module whenever you want. You don't have to read information and complete tasks every week. But if you think that at some point you have time to complete more content from the description of language module, then you can do so. We are very flexible about when you're going to complete it. It is just that we want you to have gone through everything, to have completed all tasks by the end of the term. And once you have completed the module online, you are also issued a certificate of completion. And then we have another compulsory module which is not assessed. That's LG592, which is called Assignment Writing and Dissertation Preparation. And this is a module that runs throughout the year, but it doesn't run every week. So you have, in a way, you have sparse independent sessions in November, for example. Then you might have a few more in February and March, and then you have some more in the summer, for example, in May or in June. And all of these sessions are actually intended to help you with how you are going to write your assignments and how you are going to prepare for your dissertation. In the autumn term, you are also expected to choose 2 optional modules, and these can actually be any modules of your choice. I have included here a list of these modules, but the list, we keep updating the list every year, and we also open modules that actually come from other areas as well, not necessarily language teaching and language learning modules, because there might be interest from our students in, for example, some social linguistics modules. So we can open these up for you and make them available to you. You are expected to choose 2 options from what you see here, plus the additional ones, if this is the case. So we have here LG429, Topics in the Psychology of Language Learning and Teaching, LG503, Theories of Second Language Acquisition, LG513, Individual Differences in L2 Learning, and LG540, Teaching Younger Learners. The reason why I have included these 4 optional modules here is because I have noticed throughout the years that these tend to be very popular. And I wanted to actually show to you that we run modules that focus on this content, that focus on how language learners and language teachers feel in the classroom. This is the psychology class, the first module, on how second language acquisition theories, what they include, how they are structured, and what they tell us about how people learn languages, whether there are any characteristics upon which individual learners differ. And this is what LG513 does. And we also have a specifically dedicated module to children, to how young learners, meaning primary, pre-primary and primary school children mainly, how they learn, what we need to know about the way they learn, and what we need to know about how best to teach languages, to teach foreign languages to children. That was all for the autumn term, and I now move on to the spring term, which actually starts in mid-January and goes up until the end of March, roughly. And in this term, you again take 4 modules. And again, you have 2 compulsory modules and 2 optional modules. The structure is pretty much the same as the autumn term, but the focus and content of the modules changes here. In terms of the compulsory and assessed modules in the spring term, we have research methods, LG575, and this is a module that all MA students in the department actually take. So it's for everybody, irrespective of what MA program they are on. So it is a module that actually offers an overview of the most common research methods that we use across different areas of linguistics. So you will have a couple of sessions on researching Tesol, sessions on researching applied linguistics, researching psycholinguistics, researching theoretical linguistics. You actually cover everything. And in pretty much each week, the module director is inviting other members of staff from the department, other teachers from the department, who talk about their own research, and they give students ideas and examples from the research that they do across different areas. And this is a very useful way to help you, to help all of our MA students contextualize the research a bit, understand the research that we do a bit better by being shown specific examples. And then the other assessed and compulsory module that we have in the spring term is LG655, Teaching Practice, or LG656, Educational Leadership and Management. And you see here that we offer our MA Tesol students some choice. In this case, we have designed the teaching practice class for those MA Tesol students that do not have previous teaching experience, or they feel that their previous teaching experience is limited. And for this reason, they want to take teaching practice to improve their teaching skills. And what is interesting and what is very nice about the teaching practice class is that our students prepare lessons and they deliver those lessons to real English language learners on campus at the university. It is very good practice because it is basically the MA Tesol students that take charge in the spring term and deliver those sessions. And there are 2 teachers, myself and another colleague, who oversee this process, who meet with students regularly, who help them with the materials that they need to choose, with writing their lesson plans. We are also there in the classroom. We are present in the classroom where the actual lesson takes place, and we advise the students, we help them with timing. We might answer some questions that come from the real English language learners that our MA Tesol students might find a little bit confusing. In general, we are there to actually help and support the MA Tesol students, so they are not on their own. And we have designed LG656, Educational Leadership and Management, for those MA Tesol students who are more experienced teachers, who have some previous teaching experience when they actually join the MA Tesol course. And in this module, we review theories of leadership and management. We talk about what it means to be a good leader in the classroom, but also a good leader of an institution, of a school, of a university, for instance, of a particular program. And it is, I would say that this is a popular module as well. This year, we had students who wanted to do both. We had students who wanted to do both teaching practice and educational leadership and management. And we have allowed this to happen. We actually accepted those students to both modules. And this is possible, it will be possible for our students in the future as well, because we see that students really like to take both. The non-assessed compulsory module in the spring term is again assignment writing and dissertation preparation. I said before that this module runs throughout the year, but not every week. So you have some sessions here and there, and they are intended to focus on different aspects of your academic writing. And then in terms of spring term options, in this case, you need to, again, choose 2 optional modules. I have included a list of modules here. And again, I chose these ones because they tend to be very popular. But as I said before, with respect to the autumn term, the list can be longer. And we tend to open up other modules for our MA Tesol students, especially if we see that there is interest in those modules. But I think that, like from my experience in previous years, I think that most students really like language testing and assessment, LG 504. It focuses specifically on how best we can test and assess language across different contexts, for different purposes, across different age groups as well. How can we test children versus how can we test and assess adult learners of English or of any other foreign language? Another popular module is teaching and learning grammar, in which case the focus is on how grammar, on how people usually learn grammar and what we need to know about how best to teach grammar. And we also have another module, LC 657, English for Specific Purposes, Traditions and Practices in Language Teaching, which basically focuses on English for specific purposes and English for academic purposes. It covers both types, both specific and academic purposes. And we focus here in this particular context in students who are learning English because they want to study at a university. So it is English for academic purposes, but also those students of English who are in a class who are learning English because, for example, they need it for their job. We can talk here, for instance, about business English or about English for law, English for medicine. We are focusing here on groups of professionals who need to learn English, who need to improve their English ability for a specific purpose. I also want to share with you information about the special features on our course. And I would say the most important one is the teaching practice module that we offer, which is a full-term module. And it is compulsory for our students. And I think one of the, perhaps the main reason why our MA Tesol students really like this module, it tends to be one of their favorite modules as part of the course, is because they have the opportunity to teach real students in the classroom for a full term. It actually, this module moves away from theoretical input, from theoretical information that we teachers give to our MA Tesol students, and moves to very practical hands-on skills that our MA Tesol students practice in the classroom. As part of the MA Tesol course, we also place a very strong focus on lesson planning, on choosing materials, on designing teacher-owned materials that are not, for example, widely published, but our MA Tesol students have designed because they think that this set of materials is appropriate for the students they teach. And we also focus a lot on classroom management, on different aspects of classroom management, which we discuss both as part of our lectures, but we also reflect on as part of the teaching practice module. Our module on language learning and teaching, which is compulsory in the first term, focuses a lot on challenges that contemporary Tesol teachers actually experience and what we can do about those. So, in other words, what we do is we raise awareness of our MA Tesol students about possible challenges that they will face as part of their role and what we can do about those, because we think that in this way, our MA Tesol students will be better prepared for their professional positions in the future. And another special feature is that we focus on different contexts. For example, we look at language learning and language teaching among adults, children. We touch upon teenagers a little bit as part of our teaching younger learners lectures. We focus on English for specific purposes and English for academic purposes. We talk a lot about technology and language learning and teaching, and we do not just talk about it as part of our lectures, but we train our MA Tesol students to use technology as part of teaching practice. And we also focus on test and exam situations, which we think are very important and very common in many parts of the world. And for this reason, we want to make sure that our MA Tesol students know about them and know how to teach towards a test or towards an exam. And these are just some examples of the expertise in Tesol that we actually have. This includes the expertise, the research interests of many of my colleagues and of myself. And I think that this expertise is actually reflected in the modules that we offer, the modules I showed to you earlier as part of the course structure. So we have expertise in teaching the 4 skills and also in teaching many sub-skills. For example, lexical knowledge, vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, and intonation as well. We have expertise in CAL, which stands for Computer Assisted Language Learning, and how technology, different types of technology, can actually be used for language learning and language teaching purposes. We focus on how to use computers, how to use websites, how to use applications that are very popular nowadays to teach a foreign language. We have expertise in materials evaluation and design for the 4 skills, for the sub-skills, for specific contexts as well, which is what you see in the next bullet point, our expertise in contexts of English teaching and use. Some of those I have already mentioned, for example, young learners, ESP, EAP, exam-centered teaching, literature and language teaching. That's another interesting area that we work on, how we can use different forms of literature, for example, poetry, novels, drama, series as well, which are really, really authentic and we can use for language learning and language teaching purposes. So how can we use all of this in order to promote the language skills of our students? And we also have expertise in psychology for language learning and teaching, a very new and quickly evolving area, I would say, in which case we talk about the motivation of language learners and language teachers, the anxiety and other emotions that language learners and language teachers might experience inside the classroom, but also as part of the overall process of language learning and teaching. We talk about identity and multiple identities as well, and how this influenced when one is learning a second language, a foreign language, a third language, in cases of multilingualism as well. We talk about autonomy, and we talk about strategies for language learning and language teaching, and how these are influenced by the way we think and also by the way we feel in classrooms. I have included here some useful information for all MA students, and by this I mean that what I have focused on so far is heavily about the MA Tesol, but this information, the information that actually appears in the next couple of slides, is about the MA Tesol students and all other MA students in the department. We have a really interesting course, which is called Languages for All and starts again in October, which gives you the opportunity to learn a language alongside your degree. It is free for all Essex students, so you are registered as a student on any of our MA Linguistics courses, including MA Tesol, and because of that, you can actually enroll on any of our Languages for All classes for free. And the languages that we actually offer are Arabic, French, German, Japanese, which doesn't really apply to you in this case, but we offer classes of Japanese, Mandarin Chinese, Russian, or Spanish. And these classes take place on weekdays in the evening, usually from 5 p.m. onwards. I would say most of them take place between 6 and 8 p.m. and they take place on campus and they are in the evening when your regular MA classes have finished, when they are over. So after those, you can attend any of the Languages for All classes according to the language that you would like to learn. This is an overview of the structure of the academic year in terms of the teaching terms that we have, okay, and the dates. So the autumn term is the first term, the one that starts in October and ends in December, in which case you attend lectures, you go to class, and you are in the classroom with the lecturer, and you focus on any of the areas, on any of the modules that I showed to you about the autumn term. The same happens in the spring term. Again, you have lectures and you have to go to class and attend from January to March. And then in the summer term, which runs from April till the end of June, and then the summer vacation term from July up until September, is when you focus exclusively on the dissertation. You have approximately 6 months to work closely with a supervisor who knows the area you are interested in very well and is able to advise you. And what basically happens in the summer term and summer vacation term is that you are doing your own independent reading and your own independent research, but you have your supervisor who advises you on all aspects of the research study of your MA dissertation. But we also run, especially from April until June, we also run what we call MA seminars. And what we basically do is we meet with other people in your course as well. So it will be you, your supervisor, as well as other supervisors and their students. We form smaller groups. And what we basically do is we discuss common themes, common questions, common problems that might come up in your research. We discuss them as a group, and we exchange ideas and we try to find solutions. Each MA seminar focuses on different aspects of the MA dissertation. For example, we have a whole seminar on the literature review and how to form research questions. We have another seminar on the research methodology, another one on how best you can analyze the data that you have. And also from April until June, you have your dissertation preparation classes, the module that I showed to you earlier, the compulsory module, which is non-assessed, which runs in the summer term as well. I have also included the figure for 2022 to 2023 entry for the tuition fees for those international students that intend to start their studies this October. But Atsuko told me earlier that most of you are interested in starting your studies in 2023, which means that this figure, this number here, is going to be slightly different, but I don't think it has already been announced. I don't think that we have this figure yet, but it will be announced a little later in the year, so that you know exactly what your tuition fees will look like for 2023-2024. I think that was all from me so far. I have included a link here. If you haven't applied to study with us at Essex yet, but you would like more information about our courses and any reminders about webinars that we actually run, there is an inquiry form that you can complete by using this link. But also, when you go to this link, you will find videos of previous webinars, of presentations that we have actually delivered, in which we talk about different courses and different types of research that we do in the department, so that you can find more about the department and what we offer. I would like to thank you very much. You see my name again here, you see my email address. I would like to welcome you to get in touch with me and ask any questions you might have, either later in the year, next year, whenever you are preparing your application and you might have some questions. But I would like to welcome any questions that you might have about the presentation, anything that I haven't covered and you are still not sure about. You can put them in the chat, and we are going to do our best to answer those. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much for your presentation. じゃあ皆さん、質問な い。質問のある方ありましたら、チャットボックスに書いてくださいね。Linguistics のか、Tesol のことでも結構ですし、学校全体のことでも大丈夫です。はい。皆さんさすがですね。英語で書いてくださってありがとうございます。はい。Actually, we got 2 questions already. So, one question from student A. Thank you for sharing information in detail today. I have been teaching English as a high school teacher for 4 years. About teaching practice at your university, how many times could I try it? How many opportunities
this is what I understand as well. Yeah, I think this is a very good question. The teaching practice module runs for the full term, for 10 weeks. And the large MA Tesol group is divided into smaller subgroups. We try to have, let's say, groups of 4 people, and you take turns to teach. And there are cases where many of our MA Tesol students ask to teach with someone else together. So they ask to share a teaching session with someone else because I don't know, because they are friends, because they work nicely together, because they want to improve their collaboration and co-teaching skills. So it really depends on how we are going to structure it every year. But I think you will have the opportunity to teach like half of the sessions, to teach around 5 sessions for sure. It might be the case that you can teach more according to the sizes of our groups. So yeah, something else I forgot to say about that. It also depends on the duration of the lesson. We have had MA Tesol students before who wanted to take the responsibility, the lead of a full session. So they might be teaching for an hour, for 2 hours as well. We have had MA Tesol students who wanted to start with shorter sessions and then move on to teaching a full session. So we are very accommodating in terms of that. And it is something we ask our students as well, what exactly they would like to do, what they feel confident about. So it really depends on that as well, the times, the opportunities that you will have, and how long each teaching session is going to be.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next question is from student F. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My question is about a language requirement for international students. I have been teaching English in high school for over 10 years. I gained MA in Tesol in the US in 2016. It is an on-campus program with 36 credits. Do I have to take an Ielts test again?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question, because I see here a very long and varied experience in teaching English, and a very good experience in English language knowledge, basically. So perhaps one question that we should ask student F is when they took the IELTS test and what the score was. Because the student asks, do I have to take the test again? So I assume that the student has already taken this test.
So it depends on IELTS score.
Yeah. And what we basically do is, yes, we have this English language requirement for IELTS overall score of 6.5 and so on. But there are cases in which we actually assess the overall profile of an applicant. So if we see your application in which you say you have been teaching in a high school for over 10 years and you already have an MA from an English-speaking university in the US, I think you are in very good position to actually get a place on the MA Tesol here at Essex. So I think in this case, we would evaluate your overall profile, which is very strong from what I see here.
So her score is 7.0, but it's already expired.
Yeah, it has expired, but it is a very good score. It is above what we are asking. I think this is a good question to ask to graduate admissions as well as my my department, as well as the department, because I think that in this case we would most likely accept you. And I can't say for sure. So do you mind, student F, do you mind writing to me, emailing me, so that we can discuss your case in more detail?
Okay, so Student F さん、ちょっと個別に対応が必要になるケースになりますね。ビザとかの問題も関係してきますので、今はっきりお答えすることができなくて大変申し訳ないんですけれども、学校のアドミッションチームとか、ドクターに後日お尋ねいただいて、検討していただくというふうになります。でもし、Essex 以外とかにも出願を考えていらっしゃるようでしたら、やっぱり Ielts あった方が、やっぱりビザとかの問題でもいいので、7.0 をもうすでにお持ちっていうことなので、もう一度受けてみて、同じぐらいのスコアを取っていると、いろんな状況に使えると思いますので、おすすめでございます。はい。Okay, so next question, student I, thank you. Any possibility that we would have to take a lesson online depending on how bad the COVID-19 impacts on the society?
Good question as well. So I think, okay, the university, the plan for the university is to have all courses taught face-to-face from October. So all courses, all modules, all lectures and classes will take place on campus face-to-face. I guess that this will very much depend on, as you say, on how bad the situation is going, the situation with COVID is going to be then. I mean, if there is such, if it gets so worse, we might be thinking of other mechanisms. But the information that I have so far is that everything will be face-to-face. I don't know, Edmundo, is there anything particular that we can advise student I?
Right, in relation to COVID-19, of course, we still don't know what's going to happen. Of course, we are prepared to teach face-to-face from next year.
Right. そうですね。今もイギリスのマスクの着用義務もないぐらい結構もう普通の生活に戻っているので、おそらく COVID の影響で全てのレッスンがオンラインになってしまうとかっていうようなことはちょっと今のところ考えにくいかなという状態でございます。So next question, student H. Thank you for your presentation. I would like to know about dissertation. Could you tell us more, such as topics and how much and so far? Like how many words?
It's a very good question too. So what happens with the dissertation? The way I actually run the dissertation module, by the way. So what I do, I'll probably describe the process a little bit so you are clear about it. What I do is fairly early on in the academic year, let's say beginning of November, I circulate the MA dissertation handbook, which gives very important information about the dissertation process, as well as a list of dissertation supervisors and the areas that they could supervise, depending on the research that they do, depending on their research interests. And what I actually ask students to do is to look at the list and review the handbook as well, and get in touch as early as they can with a supervisor whose research they like, whose research they also want to focus on as part of the MA dissertation. And I think that this process works quite well. The topics, the list includes a very broad range of topics because we are many people in the department, and apart from the Tesol related topics that I think I gave you an idea of the Tesol related topics as part of the presentation. But apart from those topics, there are colleagues, there are teachers in the department who focus on other areas of linguistics on more theoretical, more experimental linguistics, social linguistics, which are interesting too. And the idea here is that you get an idea of the different topics that we could supervise you on, and then you get in touch with the person that you think this topic falls into, in terms of their expertise, I mean, okay? And then around the beginning of March, we give our students a deadline to submit their dissertation proposal to the department. This proposal is not assessed, but what we actually ask our students is to have discussed their proposal with the teacher, and to have a good idea of what they want to work on and who they could be supervised by. And this particular person, this possible dissertation supervisor, is going to give you feedback on your dissertation ideas, is going to help you with readings, with relevant readings, will make some suggestions about the research methodology, or how exactly you can approach your topic, or what possible research questions you might have. And then we review all the proposals, and we email you to let you know who your supervisor is. We try to give students, to the extent that this is possible, we try to allocate them to the supervisor that they want to work with, okay? To make sure that the supervision experience is going to be as best as possible. The dissertation is 12,000 words, that's the length. And we actually allow, we tell students that it could be between 12 and 14,000 words. So somewhere within that word count. And it is usually submitted, our deadline is usually around the 10th of September. So it might be on the 11th of September, it might be on the 15th. It really depends on the dates each year. But this is to give you an idea of when exactly you would be expected to complete it and submit it.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Okay.
You're welcome.
So 10 more minutes. Thank you so much, everyone, for sending the questions. Another question from student B.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your informative talk. It seems you guys offer a very good course in psycholinguistics, which I am interested in very much. I was wondering what kind of topics your students in MA Tesol course delved into for their dissertation in relation to psycholinguistics or learners' variables.
Okay, yeah, I completely agree with student B that the MA Psycholinguistics course is a really good course, and it has expanded a lot in recent years, mainly because the teachers on it have, they have invested a lot in developing the experimental side of things, our labs. So I think we have good facilities and good equipment to run many psycholinguistics experiments and tests. Now, there are students who decide to do their MA dissertation research on a topic that we can say it falls somewhere between psycholinguistics and applied linguistics or psycholinguistics and Tesol. I remember, for example, one student from last year who focused on the acquisition of vocabulary and how anxious this process might make learners. So what the student basically did was she conducted experiments on the acquisition of vocabulary in English, and then she measured anxiety as well, which is an individual learner variable, more psychologically related, I would say. And she wanted to look at this possible link. A few years ago, we had another MA student who did her MA dissertation on how on the errors that dyslexic students of English actually make when they read a text. She tried to classify those errors, and she also at the same time tried to understand how these errors make these students feel, what emotions they experience when they make those errors, and they also understand that they make those errors. Most of those errors are because they are dyslexic. So there can be, not necessarily an overlap, but there can be, and you can match them very nicely. And we have people who can actually, supervise these topics that might match information and research methods from different areas of linguistics.
Thank you. Another question from student C. I would like to know how prerequisites, for example, Ielts in other departments are like. Are they the same?
I don't think that they are the same across all departments and across the university. Edmundo, is this correct?
You're right.
Yeah.
The 6.5 for the Masters in Linguistics is a very common requirement for many of our masters. But in some cases, in economics, in mathematics, the IELTS requirement is lower, 6. And in other cases, like philosophy or literature, is higher, 7.5. But yes, the 6.5 is kind of the most common requirement.
And I think that in our MAs in translation and interpreting, the IELTS score is also higher. It's also a little bit higher than 6.5 as well.
Yes.
So it depends on the area, I guess, sometimes.
Right.
That's correct.
ですね、これエセックス大学だけではないんですけれども、イギリスの大学において IELTS の、平均的なスコアっていうのは 6.5 なんですけれども、平均的な要件が 6.5 なんですけれども、例えばLinguisticsとか MBA とか、より高い言語力を求められているコースっていうのは 7.0 とか、7.5 とか求められているコースもあります。これは学校によっておよびコースによって異なりますので、各コースページの English Requirement のところをしっかり確認いただくことをお勧めいたします。はい。次、the last question from student I. Do you mind me asking you about what makes your Essex or course unique or different from others?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for this question. What makes it unique or different? I think one important reason is the combination of theoretical and practical knowledge that we offer as part of the course. I'm talking about the MA Tesol course here because we offer modules that are based on our students' previous teaching experience. So in a way, we offer them slightly different pathways depending on their teaching experience. But we offer modules in the first term, we give our students a lot of theoretical input through our lectures, which we then give them the opportunity to apply in their teaching practice classes. And I think that this is a very nice combination and a very important combination to have the chance to apply some of the theoretical knowledge that you have to actual teaching conditions, actual teaching circumstances, because they work with real learners who have their own profiles, their own backgrounds, and they might come up with all sorts of different questions in the classroom. And our MA Tesol students practice on that. They practice on working with different people and addressing their needs as part of their course. And I think that in terms of research as well, we have received, the results of the latest research excellence framework across the UK. And the very good news is that in terms of research, the department ranked 3rd across the country. And one important, very important feature of this course and the other MA courses at Essex is that we offer very good research conditions, and we have people with very good research backgrounds and expertise. And I think this is important for anyone who wants to do postgraduate studies at MA level or PhD level to make sure that they are in a course and department where the research environment is like that, is strong, because it can certainly help you to better understand research so that you can then do your own research as part of your MA dissertation. I think these are the two really important and unique characteristics.
Thank you so much. It is almost the time. 皆さんもご質問ありがとうございました。聞きたいことを聞けましたでしょうか。私もコンサルタントとしてカウンセリングをする際にですね、Linguistics だったりとか、Tesol だったりとか、こういう言語系強い大学どこですかって聞かれたときに、やはり一番にエセックス大学が頭に浮かぶほど、エセックス大学はこの、分野でとても強い、いい大学ですので、皆さんぜひ来年出願される際に、エセックス大学を候補に入れてお考えになっていただければと思います。他に皆さん質問とか大丈夫そうですか？何かご不明点とかがありましたら、担当のカウンセラーにご連絡いただくか、まだカウンセリングを受けられたことない方は無料カウンセリングを受けてください。Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Gkonou and Enomundo. It was very good. I liked your presentation, and I'm pretty sure students are happy with it.
Thank you very much. It was really nice for us to be here with everyone. And please feel free to get in touch with us.
Yes. はい、皆さんありがとうございました。はい、良い夜をお過ごしくださいませ。本日は今日これで終了となります。ありがとうございました。失礼いたします。Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.